Okay, today we are taking a look at the Huawei HW1. This is the all-new Windows 8 device introduced by Straight Talk a few days ago. This phone retails for $229, and it is GSM, so you'll be activated with either AT&T or T-Mobile by Straight Talk. And it is a really nice hardware for the money. Considering it's Huawei, the specs are really nice on this. You get a 1.2 gig dual-core processor. You get a 5 megapixel main digital camera with LED flash. You get a front-facing 0.3 megapixel camera, Gorilla Glass, and a really nice overall look feel on the phone. The surround here is rubberized. The back is also slightly rubberized, so it feels very smooth in your hands. Now, if you're not familiar with the Windows 8 at all, and you want to learn a little bit more, then the main thing is that it's not much different from an Android in terms of layout. Everything is laid out pretty much just like it would be on an Android. You got the 3 capacitive touch buttons at the bottom here. So that's a back button, that's a home button, and that's a search button. On the side, of course, you have your volume buttons. On the top, you have your headphone jack, 3.5 millimeters, same size as an iPod headphone jack. Power/lock button. This phone does have a dedicated camera button, as do all Windows devices for that matter. And then you have the standard micro USB charge/data port, which is the same as on any Android device. Now, as far as design goes, it's a pretty straightforward device, very square. It's not small by any means, but it's not enormous either. It does have this feature where, if you want to call it a feature or a design element, whatever you want to call it, but the screen is a little bit raised above the body of the phone, as you can see here. And one of the things that I like about this particular Windows phone, which you aren't going to find on just about any other Windows 8 phone, and that's the fact that you can remove and change out the battery if and when you end up with a dead battery. You can't do this with the Nokia 920. You can't do this with the HTCs. The only phone that you can do this with is the 820 and I think one of the other lower end Nokia Windows 8 devices. But even on those phones, it's not easy to do. It's very clunky, the battery cover. But this is one thing that I like about this phone, because it's pretty much the only one that's really easy to take off, just like any other phone. So that's a plus on this phone. Now, on the size, as I was saying, this is not a huge phone, but it's definitely not small. We'll go ahead and measure it here, but it measures 5 inches tall. So we got 4.88 on the height. We got about 2.5 on the width. And thickness, we have 0.41. The screen measures 4 inches diagonally. As you can see, 4 inches. And just so you get an idea of the size, here it is with the playing card. So you can see it's probably a couple inches taller than the playing card and just as wide. So you can get a good idea of the size. Again, not a tiny phone, but certainly not a huge phone either. I would say this is probably in the just right category. Now the weight, this one is fairly lightweight for its size. It weighs about 4.4 ounces, as you can see. So it's pretty lightweight. The body is all plastic, so there's not much weight there. Though the screen is Gorilla Glass, I think if I didn't mention that earlier, which I think I did. Well, so now let's take a look at the Windows 8 stuff, because really that's, I think, the biggest selling point on this phone. The home screen, if you've seen it in the commercials or any other videos or whatever, you have the tiled interface. These tiles are constantly updating with you'll get some text information, your phone calls, emails. You can also have pictures of your friends on here. And probably one of the coolest things that I like is the fact that you can pin any application to this home screen here. So for example, I've pinned Netflix, and it can easily be deleted just like that, and I'll show you how to pin it. This is the view that you would normally see on an Android, where you have the list of applications. On Android, of course, you would go back and forth, and they're set up in a grid type pattern. Here they're in a straight, up and down, top to bottom layout. But if you want to pin something, it's just a matter of holding it down, and then you go pin to start, and there it is on your home screen. Now you can adjust it, put it wherever you want, put it there if you want, and of course you can delete stuff from your home screen. Let's unpin that guy, and let's move Netflix there. So you can see that's really neat how it does that. I actually have a Nokia 900 as my personal phone, or 920 I should say, and I really like it. I tend to like it a whole lot better than Android, and I like it just as much as probably as the iOS, Apple's iOS on iPhone. Let's see, let's take a look at some other stuff here. The phone interface is pretty straightforward. On Windows 8, pretty much all the applications are laid out like this. You have some information at the top, and then you'll have the navigation at the bottom. Anytime you have three dots, that's kind of to get into the settings. And that's usually what a typical Windows 8 settings screen looks like. The navigation, you can go back, and let's take a look at the phone interface here. So pretty straightforward on that. Now as far as the keyboard is concerned, of course you get the standard QWERTY keyboard, and of course it does adjust. Has a navigation for adjusting up and down. And that's pretty much how all the keyboards are going to look like on Windows 8. And on this particular phone, it's very responsive, just like any Android would be. Now the only difference really between this phone and Android in terms of the apps that it comes with is the fact that you're not going to get any of the Google stuff built in. You're going to have to, or out of the box, you're going to have to download, for example, YouTube. You're going to have to download that, or you can go to the website, the mobile website. Let's take a look at the App Store, because that's really where a lot of people will tell you Windows 8 kind of falls short. This phone does not have the sheer number of apps that Android has. I don't know what the exact number is on Android, but it's quite a lot more than Windows. That being said, you are going to find all of the major commercial apps. For example, if we take a look at this top free here, of course you got YouTube, Facebook, Skype, Pandora, Netflix, which I showed you earlier, Twitter. You can actually install a Google search if you'd rather use Google for your search instead of Bing. It's got this G Maps here. Will install a Google Maps viewer if you don't want to use the Microsoft map. So pretty much all the major apps are represented here, and if we take a look at the games, that's where you'll find your Angry Birds, Fruit Ninja, etc., etc. So all those are here. You can download music from this phone. I haven't done that personally, but you can do that. And you will need to sign up for a Microsoft account to get into the App Store. So same as Google, signing up to a Google account. And finally, let's take a look at the map. Again, this is going to use a Microsoft Maps. This particular phone does not have turn-by-turn out of the box. I don't believe it does, or at least not the voice turn-by-turn. You do get directions, of course, just like you do any other smartphone. So you know, you get the list with the waypoints, which looks like that. And of course, as you drive, it'll update. But I don't think it's got the, and you can see the top map kind of changing as you would drive. But it does not have the voice navigation. I haven't tried it. So don't hold me to that 100%, but I'm fairly certain that you don't get voice navigation on this phone, at least not out of the box. I'm sure you can find an app if you needed to. So that about wraps it up. I highly recommend this phone for the price. It's $229, and you get about $300 worth of hardware, 1.2 gig dual core processor, Gorilla Glass screen, 4-inch screen, 5 megapixel digital camera,